the avocado should have gone extinct. This fruit was mainly eaten by megafauna. Think of big mammoths and horses and giant ground sloths, and they would eat the avocado whole. The big seed doesn't digest and eventually end up in the back door, and eventually it becomes a new tree. But around 13,000 years ago, it all changed, because most giant mammals went extinct, so there was no one to eat the fruit and continue the cycle. But we still have it all today thanks to ourselves. Yes, early humans who lived in North and South America actually started to farm these plants. Did you know the Vikings used bones from slain animals? They thought by doing this they would enchant their weapons with the animal spirit and make the weapons stronger. And it actually did. I mean, not in the way that you probably think, not in the way of enchanting the actual blade, but because all their weapons were made of iron, using the carbon that came from the bones, they would actually create a primitive version of steel. Did you know life never gave us lemons? Basically, lemons are not a naturally occurring fruit, but it was made by selective breeding. So it's a hybrid between a sour orange and a citron. But that sour orange is also a hybrid between a pomelo and a mandarin. So life never gave us lemons, but we can still drink lemonade. Did you know that humans are the best endurance runners on the planet? Because of one feature, we can outrun any animal, given enough time and distance. All thanks to sweat. We can lose warmth by sweating, while other animals can't. Think of a dog during a warm day who keeps on panting. Another big help is our feet. Other animals always have to run on their tippy toes, while a human can walk and run depending on the situation. Think of it as a second gear. There are small nuclear reactors in orbit. The system's nuclear auxiliary power, or SNAP, better known as space nuclear reactors. SNAP 1 lasted for about 2,500 hours, but never made it into space. The first reactor to make it into orbit was SNAP 3. It was used for a navigational system for the Navy, and it used about 2.5 watt, which is equal to half a desk lamp with an LED bulb. All reactors used a wide range of fuel from cerium-144 to strontium-90. All the SNAP reactors were not used on flights with astronauts because they could not shield them from the radiation, but they were used in navigational systems or satellites that are flown into orbit. The worst traitor of World War II. His name was Harold Cole, or Paul Cole, or Harry Cole. The man had many names. He was a petty criminal who was born on 1906. He served as a British soldier at the start of the Second World War. During that time, he helped many British soldiers escape France and Belgium after its surrender to Nazi Germany. Then he became a double agent for the Nazis and betrayed over 150 escape line workers and members of the French resistance. 50 people were executed or died in concentration camps. In 1943, Cole was head of the SD department. He burned all trace of being a SS officer and joined the US Army. He then deserted from the army and eventually died in Paris in 1946 after the war because he was resisting arrest. Killing infants was legal in ancient Rome. The paterfamilias, or head of the family, had the right of life or death over the newborn infants. He didn't even have to consult with the mother. When a child was born, it was laid at the feet of the paterfamilias. If he acknowledged the baby, it would be welcomed into the family, it would be given a name, but if he refused to acknowledge the baby, the child would have to be exposed, which is not that bad. It basically means given away to family or friends, or even given away to an unfertile couple. But if they weren't given away, they could be drowned, thrown away with the trash, or being sold in slave trafficking. It was not a crime to kill a child until 374 AD. The English word Berserk has its origins from the Vikings. These were gruesome warriors who worshipped Odin, and they are believed to have fallen under the influence of alcohol and drugs, like mushrooms. The word Berserk, translated from Old Norwegian, means bearskin. This name was given to them because they often had clothes with skulls or hides from an animal. You know, they do love their Gucci. Radioactive day-to-day items. First one, your body. By eating certain items that are slightly radioactive, we become radioactive ourselves. Most of it is from our second item, bananas. This fruit contains potassium-40, which is slightly radioactive, but don't worry because you have to eat 1 billion bananas to die from radiation poisoning. And third one, smoke detectors. Some of these contain americium-241, which is an isotope. It's surrounded by ceramic and foil, so it's not harmful to us, except if you break it. How much storage space does our brain have? You would think with us forgetting so much that we wouldn't have a lot, but scientists estimate that we have about 2.5 petabytes? And no, not that peta. 2.5 petabytes are 2,500 terabytes, or 2.5 million gigabytes. Subscribe for more. Did you know that the Salem witch trials never actually burned the witches? 20 people were accused of being witches in the town of Salem. They all stood trial, but of course it was an unfair trial. But they had one. And 19 of the 20 witches that were accused had been hanged, and the one person remaining was pressed to death with stones because he didn't want to plead guilty or innocent. The first ever football boots were worn by the man who banned the sport. The first pair dates back to 1526, made for the same king who banned football in England 14 years earlier. His name is Henry VIII. The ban was not for royalty, but for the common peasant. I'm talking to you, peasant.
Scared Potter.
Because a lot of riots came from unregulated football. You know how angry those people can get.
I love you. My father.
Sugar kills bacteria. As a child, I was always taught that sugar attracts unwanted guests and bacteria. Until I got my last year in high school. There I learned that syrup, or Syrupus simplex, is one of the easiest to make medicine. And if the sugar content is high enough, it's antibacterial. And as I got older, I got some experience working in a pharmacy. They told me that the purest form of syrup is honey, because humanity can't make sugar water more pure than actual bees can. Quickly, if you want to see my previous video, it's right here. I hope you like it.